Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Tristan Rallings, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is leading seaman Rhys Noblet. We are honoured to acknowledge Mr. Fabien Livior-Grass, Councillor and Deputy Head of Mission, Embassy of Switzerland. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families who love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
If you are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Jack Stevenson Bowen. Jack Bowen was born on the 3rd of November 1913, the eldest son of Evan and Iris Bowen of Victoria. His family owned 440 acres at Tooradin, just outside of Melbourne. Jack began his education at the Glamorgan Preparatory School for Boys in Toorak and completed it at Melbourne Grammar School. Jack was a keen cricketer and was a member of the Melbourne Cricket Club. Every year, he also represented Tooradin in country week cricket. After his education in Melbourne, Jack returned to the family farm as manager, successfully running the property for at least 3 years before war broke out. In December 1938, the year before hostilities broke out in Europe, Jack Bowen enlisted for service in the Australian militia. He proved an able soldier during his training and was promoted to corporal by September 1939. In December of that year, Bowen left the militia to enlist in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force. He underwent further training in Australia, resulting in the commissioned rank of lieutenant, which he received in June 1940. On the 24th of June, the same month as he received his commission, Jack Bowen married Josephine Rodway of Nowra in a ceremony in the Holy Trinity Church of England in Melbourne. 3 months later, he left Australia for active service overseas. Lieutenant Bowen arrived in Palestine in mid-October 1940. By the end of the month, he had joined the 2nd 6th Battalion as it completed its training in various locations around Palestine and Egypt. In early 1941, the 2nd 6th Battalion became one of the first Australian battalions to fight in the Western Desert Campaign when it took part in the Battle of Bardia in Libya. Bowen's battalion was ordered to attack an enemy-held wadi near the Italian stronghold in Bardia. Beginning their attack in the early hours of 3rd of January, the men of the 2nd 6th Battalion attacked a string of enemy posts, successfully advancing across the desert. However, not long afterwards, their positions came under heavy shell fire, and the battalion suffered a number of casualties, withdrawing from some of their positions. On the morning of 4th of January, battalion headquarters put together a casualty report, which included 8 killed, 26 wounded, and 30 missing. One of those missing was Lieutenant Jack Bowen. The following day, he and a number of men from Delta Company were found dead in and around an Italian post at Wadi Mu'tad. Their bodies were recovered when the post was recaptured and they were buried in the desert. Today, the body of Lieutenant Jack Bowen lives in the Hellfire Solemn War Cemetery in Egypt under a Commonwealth War gravestone with no inscription. He was 27 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Jack Stevenson Bowen, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.